If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh, sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. I'm on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here, and we have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's easy. Just go to shrmedia.com. Well, and click on the listen and watch button. You can also go, hey, Sarge, how you doing, sir? Also, you can go to Reaver.1, YouTube, and Facebook. Today we got a special guest. We got Crash. That's right, we got Crash with us. What's going on, my brother?
Not much, big guy.
It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it definitely has. Ever since, you got all big and popular and got this new prime time slot.
You stopped calling.
You forget about the little people.
Oh, yeah, you just stopped calling. Well, you've called in one time. Or 2 times. Once or twice. I can't remember. I can't remember what I had for lunch today, let alone how many times you called in since we switched to the nighttime.
Where the hell it is I'm supposed to be driving right now?
Crazy? That's a short drive.
Right now, with all I have no idea what you got planned for tonight. All I know is that I'm probably going to find it entertaining. With all the bullshit that's been going on in this country and outside the country and some of the...
Well, New Jersey's going nuts. I've actually reported a couple times on New Jersey laws that are possibly going to go in place. You got, Patrick Murphy running on... they got 20 gun control laws set up. That if he's elected governor, that'll get enacted immediately. The gun tax he wants to push. I've reported on all that.
I really wish I'd called in for that one. I really do, because I've got some comments on all that.
Oh, I think I got a New Jersey brain fart. A New Jersey gun control. No, it's not a New Jersey gun control. It's just a regular. The American Bar Association. I forgot. It's American Bar Association. They want... Here it is. The American Bar Association is pushing state and local governments to adopt firearm confiscation laws similar to those in California. During their 2017 annual meeting, the ABA House of Delegates adopted Resolution 118B, which urges governments to enact statute rules and regulations authorizing courts to issue gun violence restraining orders and coordinate.
Yep. Okay, now I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, go ahead.
So basically, someone makes an accusation without being found guilty, you get your guns revoked. And even after being proven innocent, trying to get your guns back is, well, good luck.
Yeah, essentially what it comes to, I know what you're talking about. I didn't realize that came from the Bar Association, but
yeah,
what the hell?
What's up?
It sounded like I was just listening to a re-recording of what you just said 5 seconds ago.
I don't know.
That was weird.
Maybe you're losing your mind?
No, hold on. Your live broadcast, do those have a slight delay?
No, I was playing around with my tablet, and you might have picked up a broadcast off that somehow.
Yeah, that might be. That's why I was wondering if there's a delay, because I was literally hearing what you just said 5 seconds prior. Yeah, essentially, I didn't know it was the ADA that did it, but yeah, so anybody, I mean, I could have an argument with my next door neighbor about the fact that his dog shit on my lawn, and then he can go and just make a statement to the court, and automatically the court, without anything, is able to remove my constitutional rights to own a firearm, and then I have to prove my innocence to get them back. No, I have to prove my innocence to get the hold removed, and then once it's removed, it's not automatically they're turned over. Then I have to go through a whole process of reobtaining them, and this whole thing I have to pay for.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have to pay for anything, but I have to pay to prove my innocence. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. This is bullshit. If you want to file a legal motion, and this is what's surprising. You're saying this is the American Bar, so these are fucking lawyers.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. They're supposed to know the law. I'm innocent until proven guilty. If you want to prove me guilty of something, file a goddamn motion, allow me my day in fucking court, and we'll hash the shit out. And if I'm innocent, I'm innocent. If I'm guilty, I'm guilty. But an arbitrary decision based on just an accusation by a third party that doesn't know shit about me?
Pretty much.
That is so fucking unconstitutional. It's unreal. I can't.
Well, think about what the left is doing right now. Not to change subjects, but I mean it goes along it. It's not just our First Amendment rights that are under attack. It is all of our rights that are under attack because they're attacking freedom of speech right now. Now, you know me. We've been friends for, 20 years now? I think it's close to 20 years. Yeah, almost 20 years. And I do not agree with a single thing that any racist has to say. I do not agree with the KKK. I don't agree with the neo-Nazis. But they have the right. They have the right to say that.
Yes, they do. They have the right. They have the legal right to voice their opinion, whether it doesn't matter how despicable I find their opinion, how grotesque, or anything else. Them stating their personal opinion is a constitutionally protected right. Now, them enforcing their opinion and their will on others through either violence and or threat of violence is illegal and unconstitutional. Now, the truly ironic thing is, like all the stuff that went on in Charlotte and the stuff that just happened in Boston, okay? I'm not standing up for the KKK. I'm hoping everybody that listens to this does not take it as like, what is it you want to say? I'm carrying the water for them or whatever the hell it is. That's not the point. The point is they had a constitutional right to say what they wanted to say. I don't have to freaking listen to them, and I have a constitutional right to stand up and disagree with them verbally. I do not have the constitutional right to shut them down and beat them up and start destroying property because I disagree with them.
Do you know what's scary? Do you know what's scary?
That uses those tactics, and then they turn around and say, well, it's my constitutional right to do this. No, asshole, it's not.
Well, what they're saying, what a lot of them are saying, let me jump in here, Dean. What they're saying is that they do have the right because their lives are threatened because anybody that's willing to stick up for them are Nazis, so they have the right. They're going to be killed by these Nazis, so they have the right to defend themselves and shut down because they will be violent in the future, even though they have zero proof of it.
Now, by that same statement, by that exact same methodology, Okay. So then does that mean that I could show up as one of these, as a third party, not Antifa, actually, it's not even a third party. It'd be like a fucking 16th party. So not Antifa, not BLM, not KKK, not white supremacists, not alt-left, not alt-right, whatever the hell fucked up name they want. I just show up as, I'm an American. Because that's what I identify as. That is my preferred pronoun. I am an American.
Racist.
Fuck on that, all you. Anyway,
Racist.
So I show up as that, and then I turn around and say, so you're standing up for socialism, you're standing up for communism. Well, underneath those regimes, underneath those
they're worse than
you are going to take all of my money and redistribute it. You are going to tell me what I can and cannot do with my life, what my wife can and cannot do, and what my child
Hold on.
cannot do. Redistribute it. So I have the constitutional right then to kick your liberal ass all the way back to mama's basement. Is that about right?
Pretty much. I mean, that's where these little kids are. They're from little mama and daddy's basement.
Well, and the thing I get the biggest kick out of is if they're all so goddamn righteous, take off the mask.
Yeah, I know.
Shit.
Oh, some of them have been unmasked and they don't like it because their police mugshots have been exposed.
Good.
Yeah, but now you got people that want to find out who they are so that they can lose their jobs. And they're crying about it. This isn't right. This isn't fair. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. But yet these are the same people that are taking screenshots and putting it out there and identify this Nazis. They identified actually several 3%ers that showed up to the rally in Charlottesville to try to keep the peace, and they were labeled as Nazis.
Yeah.
You know,
it's screwed up.
It's okay for them to do it, but
I would absolutely love it if somebody turned around and filed a FOIA for the arrest records from any one of these events. All the records. Because freedom of information, that is public record, the arrest record has public record, so I should be able to get it, and then I get to see, you got to keep your mask on until the police took your mugshot. All right, come here, Buttercup. Let's have a chit-chat.
Let me tell you, if there was actually
not wearing a mask, they are wearing Kevlar to defend your right to be an asshole. Now, I don't agree with your point of view. You have every right to be an asshole. I know lots of them.
Hey. Don't insult me like that. They are not on my level.
They're amateurs.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you a question. Now, let me see if I can remember where I was going to go with it. Go back to what you're doing. My thought went out my head. Shit.
Okay. Even though I completely disagree with them, and I find them absolutely repulsive, do they have the right to state their point of view and to protest? Yes, they do. Do they have the right to protest a statue of Stonewall Jackson? Sure, you do. You have the right to protest a statue of Lenin or George Washington, Andrew Jackson, anybody. I don't care, pick one. Do you have the right to protest it? Yes, you do. Do you have the right to destroy a public monument? No, that's destruction of property. No, you do not have that right.
Hey, let me jump in. I actually remember the question I wanted to ask you, because how much do you actually know of what went on in Charlottesville? Like the main person that set up the rally, that got the permit for the rally, who he is and his background. Did you hear any of that?
All right. Now, Charlottesville, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
You've been busy.
Look into it a little bit. I've been trying to get more and more information on it as I'm able to stomach it. The problem is I'm so burned out on the rhetoric from the liberals.
Okay,
right
so you don't have it.
From what I've been able to, now fill in my blanks for me. I'll tell you what I've got, and I'm sure you know more. Okay, so an individual filed for a permit. I can't remember. He wasn't. I can't remember what organization he was with, but he filed for a permit for a rally or a march or something like that. He had speakers, or something, right?
Right.
And he filed for it. It was rejected because it said, no,
Correct.
this will incite violence.
And it went to a court and a federal judge.
He challenged it, and the court said, you can't do that. You can not deny him a permit for peaceful assembly. You can't do this. So he got the permit. Then they turned around and they said, okay, well, we're going to send out all this, all the police and the riot gear and blah, 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 blah. It got publicized. Then Antifa shows up. The KKK shows up. The supremacists start showing up. The extremists from both sides now are showing up to this event, and then the government is able to say, whoa, this is all out of control. This is now a public
No. The government of Virginia actually declared a state of emergency 8:30 in the morning. The rally wasn't until 12:30 in the afternoon. They had canceled.
I thought they declared it after. Okay.
No, they declared it even
true.
before it started. They shut it down. Nothing had happened, and they shut it down. They then pushed. Well, let's back it up. The guy that set up the rally, and I forget the gentleman's name. I really don't care about the gentleman's name. He was doing it supposedly because he's now a racist, and he's part of some neo-Nazi or KKK. His history is he was an Obama supporter, voted for Obama, and was one of the Occupy Wall Street participants.
Well, then you know what? Then the previous accusations would have been correct. If he was an Obama supporter, that would make him a member of the Democratic Party, and the Democrats were the founders of the KKK.
Now, a lot of people are now questioning, is this a setup? Because there's other eyewitness reports that say they saw the buses come in. On one bus, you had KKK and neo-Nazis getting off. The bus directly behind it is Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and they were interacting peacefully.
And the fact that so this thing was supposed to take place. Now, if this was, I never saw any of this on the national media. So
it wasn't national media.
News beforehand. Okay? Yet there was advertisements in newspapers for protesters to attend this thing on the other side of the country. The asshole who mowed down the people in his car and killed that one woman was from Ohio.
Now there's questions about that.
You've got all these people that traveled from across the country to attend an event that wasn't supposed to be much to do about nothing other than one guy's rhetoric, which, again, he has the legal right to do.
The ones that had the permit.
He went through the right process, and that's part of what.
The other ones didn't have a permit. Now, hang on, stop. That car that ran, there's now video that someone was taking a baseball bat to the car with the driver in it right before he hit the accelerator to drive away.
Yeah, now the only... Wait, before he ran into the crowd?
Yes, before he ran into the crowd. Before they're saying now there's video.
He ran into the crowd is when I saw in the video. That's the part of the video that I saw, and I see guys hitting the car with bats, smashing the rear window.
That kind of makes sense. From what I'm seeing, it's beforehand. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the truth is going to come out to be, but that kind of makes sense, and it may not be what it seems.
Now, here's one interesting thing. When this all initially happened last week, and I was looking up, and I did a thing. I was like, okay, the Charlottesville, running over, the incident, whatever. All these videos pop up. And there was numerous angles and copies of essentially the exact same grouping of seconds, just like different people. And you see, okay, this guy was behind this guy. Well, everybody's got social media. Everybody posts everything. Okay, fine. There was a couple of videos that were marked drone, which I found, okay, that's really interesting. And security camera, okay, not quite so interesting. But what I found interesting was in almost every single video, you had this vehicle, which was a black sports car.
I think it was Charger.
Run into all these protesters, correct?
Yeah. Counter-protesters.
There was one video where the vehicle was not black, it was red. but everything else looked damn near identical. But it was at a higher altitude and an off angle, like it was a stationary camera that was just surveilling the area.
Oh,
it looked
Challenger.
more like a surveillance shot, but it was a red vehicle, not a black vehicle. I was actually finding multiple videos that were all being labeled as the exact same thing. These were being driven by this guy that did this and killed this person.
Yeah,
it was just kind of weird.
Yeah, something's not adding up, though. The whole thing's not adding up. It really isn't.
But, like, one of the things that pisses me off, like, with the whole Trump thing, you know, and I've said this before, you know, was Trump, like, the best choice? No, maybe not, overall. Like, out of anybody that could have ever run for president. Given the choices we had, he was the best. Given the fact that he's not a career politician and hasn't been in D.C. feeding off the taxpayer for 20 years already, I'd much rather have this guy down there.
Yeah.
It's somebody different. He's breathing new life into the party. He's trying some new shit. He's making people think and making them realize, oh, crap, my entitlements may not be there. Well, his statements that he's getting crucified for, I find, honestly, that's what really irks me. They're saying that he's standing up and siding with the KKK and white supremacists.
Never did.
Because, you know, how he's pointing things out. Because he stated, well, they had a permit. The other protesters didn't. And they're like, well, what does that matter? Well, one's legal, one's not legal, okay?
So also, it's not that. He was pointing out both sides are violent.
And he on both sides. They're like, oh, no, the KKK is much worse. Well, that doesn't negate the fact that Antifa and the BLM are violent extremist groups. Now, why is nobody pointing out all the crap that they've done? The crap they did at Berkeley, the stuff they've done in the South, the stuff they've done in the North.
They ignored that.
The stuff they just did in freaking Boston. Point that crap out.
Oh, the shit they did in Boston, I mean, it's fucking amazing. Okay, you're going to hold a rally. And it's called a free speech rally. So you show up. Actually, hold on. We'll get to this on the other side of the break. We'll continue on the other side. But you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with a special guest, Crash, right here on SHR Media and HP Pundit. And we will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. Tonight I got a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Crash. Welcome back, Crash. And for those that, since he has been a regular of late because of, real life sucks. Crash is my old EMS partner. When he first started, I took him under my wings, changed his diapers, taught him how to be an EMT.
I'm sorry, who had to get recertified after I was already running the truck?
Yeah. I let you run that truck.
Who had more bars on their uniform? Who was that? I can't remember who that was again.
And who offered it to me? And I said, nah, I'm okay. I don't need bars on my uniform to show how good I am.
I'm going to stop right there because the next statement I was getting ready to make, you know what? You're a good friend. I ain't going to go there.
I know. We can go back and forth.
I'm also not a Democrat. I ain't going to stoop that low.
So
they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
It's. And I just want to point out everything that they're doing, and going back to Hillary, during the campaign, blaming Trump
quick.
on Russia. All right, go ahead.
Real quick. If you want to do the whole, took you under the wing and all the rest of that stuff.
Oh God.
If you really want to point that out with a debate that I really can't come back with because I got nothing, he should do the firehouse, not the EMS one.
I know.
Because you were my training officer there, so there's that.
Sarge in the chat room calls BS and says you sound like a libertard.
What I do?
Yes.
I sound like a libertard?
Well, you said that you weren't, By the way, just so you know, what Sarge is from, what is it, the mother of all broadcast radio. He has his own show. Hopefully he's going to be coming to SHR soon, or an HP Pundit. He's a good guy. You'd get along with him. And he says, I'm joking. He's joking.
Sounds like an absolute charmer. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know how it is with military guys,
Yeah, I know. He was a sergeant. He just loved playing with the privates. Yeah, fine.
All right, so what we were going to talk about right before the break was, and also Sarge let you know his whole family is kind of military. His, two uncles were special forces? Well, if you told us you would have to kill us type deal, I understand.
Nah, one uncle, SF career, father, sergeant, Army, other uncle, my godfather, drill sergeant, Army. I do have a Marine in there. It was another uncle. We're not sure why that happened, but it happened. No, I've got family in every single branch. It is what it is. I got nothing but respect for all of them, and I have talked to every single one of you. And just so everybody knows, most of the jokes I use regarding the military, who the hell do you think taught them to me?
All right, well, let's get back to, but I just wanted to give everybody that is new to the show listening background. I mean, that's why we actually did a show, the Southside Mutts, for a year. But this past weekend, there was a free speech rally in Boston. And, by the way, Crash, Sarge says, hoorah. But I don't understand. You have a rally, it's called the Free Speech Rally. Why would you protest that? But any which way, they did protest it. And they thought they were going to get another fight on their hands. Of course, they didn't want to fight, so they gave in and shut the rally down, which that pissed me off. You know, you're giving in and you're giving these guys a win. So, what is Antifa go and do since they didn't get a fight with the original rally? They go and pick a fight. They go and pick a fight with the police. And they start name-calling. And one of the things I was going to point out is, if you notice, starting with Hillary in the election, her one main weakness where she would lose over 50% of the votes was if someone used Russia and the uranium deal against her. You know, early polling and all that, she could lose over 50% of the votes. So what they do, they attacked Trump by trying to connect him to Russia so that he couldn't use it back. So what do these little cockroaches, Antifa, do? They start pointing their finger and calling everybody fascists and anybody that opposes them Nazis or white supremacists. So therefore, you can't point it to them because that's what they're actually doing. Okay, they're not burning books. Antifa's not burning books, but what are they doing? They are stopping free speech, which is basically burning books. They're stopping rallies from happening. They're burning books. Who burnt books?
Let me see.
Nazis.
Yeah, this is why. I mean, anybody who listens to our, the Southside Mutt show when that was airing and stuff. This is definitely not a comment that is new to anybody that's listened to us, and that is those that do not study history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
You need to learn from history, which is a big part of the reason why this whole tearing down a statue crap has got me so pissed. Now, they're calling everybody fascist. They really need to look up the definition of the word fascist. Okay? They're shutting down rallies. They're shutting down...
Hold on. Hang on. When you look up the definition, you got to watch it because Google and two others have actually changed the definition to point it towards the right-wingers.
Yeah, look it up from a credible source in academia. Google is not one. Google is a freaking search engine. Okay? Actually, go to a library, open up a dictionary, or go to an actual dictionary website of an accredited edition or an accredited, I can't even think of the word right now. But actually get it from a proper source, okay? Google said they hate when students use that in my classes. When they said, well, I Googled it, and this was the top list. I don't care if it was, okay, what's the source? Google? No, that's not a source. You want to have an educated debate with me? Don't come unarmed.
Well, it could be worse. They could be saying WikiLeaks or Wiki.
If you want me to teach you or educate you on a subject, that's absolutely fine. You want to be indoctrinated on a subject? Wrong class. I don't do indoctrination. I don't do that crap. You'd have to go see somebody down the hall from me. Because that's not how I teach. Never have, never will. Now, what pisses me off is, with all this crap that they're touting, Look at, okay, so they're shutting down free speech. They're shutting down the rallies. That's their big mantra. We'll shut it down.
Yeah.
What did the Nazis, and now they're calling us Nazis, right? So we're the Nazis. Now, the Nazi Party in Germany, when it was first started, let me recall. What were they doing again?
Burning
That's
books.
right. They were removing material. They were burning books. They were shutting down
Speeches. Speeches and
down.
rallies. Yeah.
So I'm the Nazi, I'm the fascist, but you're using fascist tactics and pulling playbooks from Nazi Germany against me, but I'm the one to be blamed for it. Right.
Yeah,
So let me rip down all the statues that I disagree with. You know, because the Confederacy was bad and blah blah blah. Okay.
Robert Byrd.
I mean,
There's plenty of Robert Byrd statues.
Oh yeah, and that's why. Oh shoot, down south. Well, I can't remember what state it
West
was.
Virginia.
You can't go 5 feet without finding a Robert Byrd Memorial Highway, and then go to Byrd Memorial Circle, and then you can stop off at the Byrd Memorial Library. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's all fine. You know, again, back with the history thing. You want to remove stuff like I think it was that knuckleheaded Lenin or whatever the hell his name is on CNN. You know, the most trustworthy news.
Don Lemon, whatever.
Yeah, and he says, the statue should get taken down. You know, you want to learn about history. The place for history is not in a park that's paid for by taxpayers. It's at a museum. Okay, fine. Then why don't you pull down all the history monuments for people that you agree with too?
Stop real quick. Stop. Because this just came in. No, this just came in. In the wake of the events in Charlottesville, Virginia, ESPN has decided to pull one of its announcers from calling the University of Virginia football game. So one of the announcers is getting yanked. Guess why?
Let me guess. He's a conservative?
Nope. You're never going to guess it. His name is Robert Lee.
I hope he freaking sues the crap out of them.
That is fucking ridiculous because of his name.
That's nameism. That's against
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, it literally just popped up like 6 minutes ago. And
oh, my God. You know, this is the stuff that pisses me off. I would be, and for anybody that wants to turn around and say, oh, well, I'm a South sympathizer or whatever it is, you know what? I wasn't alive back then. So I can't say, really, what side would I have fallen on? Really couldn't tell you. I had family on both sides, so I guess that would depend on who I was visiting that week. Okay? I had family members on both sides of it. But if you're going to pull the statues down, you know what? Pull them all down. I would be just as pissed if somebody went and said, we're going to pull down this statue of Martin Luther King. We're going to pull down this statue of Harriet Tubman. You know what? I would be just as infuriated with those a-holes as I am with this set. Because it's all history. And sticking with the history thing, you really want to go back to, this whole thing, like this reparations crap? That's really been getting underneath my skin.
Ooh, that reminds me.
I
owe
you something because of something my ancestors did to you? Okay, fine. As soon as you collect the debt from the African tribesmen that sold you.
Oh, yeah, that was brought up, too, on one of the things about that.
To the slavers that transported you across the...
and slave trade is still going on in...
sold you to an African-American.
Hey, Sarge, there's a Marxist statue in Seattle. That's fucking ridiculous.
Sorry about that. That was just like that reparations.
Oh, now the Black Lives Matter, they have like several demands, and one of them is we have to give them our houses. If we own a house, we have to give it to them.
You know what? I've got one. You know what? Honestly, I've got one statement, one mantra that essentially, ever since all this, I'm going to grab all your freedom stuff away has started with. And ironically, most of this did start with like the First and Second Amendment, and now they're just going after everything. I've got the same response to every single one of them. Come and take it.
Exactly.
Let me know how that works out for you. come and take it.
There's a Navy SEAL, ex-Navy SEAL, that said it best, talking about because we're on the verge of a civil war in this country, and they're even threatening it now. But this ex-Navy SEAL put it best, that he finds it funny that they're threatening civil war when they've complained for years that our side has like 8 trillion bullets, and they can't decide what fucking bathroom to use. And it's.
What?
All right.
Oh, God.
I'm going to make one last comment, then we got to go to break. If we get to ban things that we find offensive that are linked to slavery and Civil War, can we please ban the Democrat Party? Because what's going on right now is Democrats are complaining about statues put up by Democrats that represent supposed racist slave-owning Democrats.
Hypocrisy is thick with that.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, they're the party of slavery, so we should be able to ban that party. If they're true to what they say, the Democrat Party should be banned immediately. You're listening. Go ahead.
No, yeah, sorry. No, go ahead. Cut the break.
All right. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with a special guest, Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I am here with the infamous Crash. What's going on, brother? All right, where were we? I mean, before we left there, you're about to say something you probably forgot, but...
we were going on about the protesters and the statues and that thing. I can't remember exactly where because we kind of continued it off there.
I know, off the air. One of the things is down here in Hillsborough County, we actually had a vote, and it was shot down that they were going to remove a statue. 2 weeks later, for some reason, council decided to vote again, and they voted to remove it and have it moved to a graveyard. As long as it was taken off county property, yada, 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 yada. And they had to raise X amount of money in a certain amount of time. Of course, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a couple of sports teams, they raised the money real quick. Well, it's got put on hold because there is a group that has filed several lawsuits against moving it. And that's starting to happen, too. You're starting to get groups that are suing because you can't. Just removing those statues isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change a damn thing. The only thing you're doing is hiding history, and that's what the Democrats want. They want to hide the history.
They want to hide the history because they want to rewrite history into the image that suits their narrative nowadays. I think that might have been what we were talking about with the Civil War and stuff. And, oh, yeah, that's what it was. She made the comment about, so a group wants to have a civil war with the Americans that own 7 billion bullets, and they can't decide which bathroom to use.
Yeah,
you made that comment right before break.
Well, the comment I made actually right before was it's a bunch of Democrats are complaining about past Democrat congressmen that put up statues about past Civil War Democrats that they say are racist.
Now, the funny thing is, and I'm sure this isn't 100% accurate, and honestly, I really would prefer to fact check myself or whatever before I make statements. But if I remember correctly, I mean, for one, the freeing of the slaves, that was something a few years into the Civil War. Okay. Yeah. Number two, the Republicans predominantly were the northern states. It was the Democrats that were the South, fighting to keep the slavery.
Yep.
So why would the Democrats want to remove all traces of that? Well, gee, could it be that, oh, crap, people might find out that we're essentially a goddamn sham? I mean, the KKK was a Democrat organization.
Well, what they're trying to do is a lot of that came out this year in the election. Well, this past year for the election. So now they want to hide it, like we talked about, to rewrite history. They don't want people to know that they were the party of slavery, that they are the ones that fought against, women's rights. They fought against the civil rights. They fought against everything. And now they want to play like they're all this nice group, because one of the things that did hurt them, you had, I think it was Dinesh D'Souza that really started it. They went from one plantation, now they're still on a plantation. And that's kind of how it is. They're still on a plantation.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, they keep on everybody wants to press this whole narrative about, it's equal rights, equal rights, equal rights, equal rights. You know what? Equal rights, I mean, unless you can tell me, and again, I mean, I go back to this because, they want to say that, I'm responsible for slavery. How? You were never held as a slave by me. So you're going to punish me for the deeds of my ancestors. Okay, fine. So now you're spouting about equal rights. Well, now most of the people, and this is what I truly find ironic, other than the soapboxed individuals and some politicians and a few other people, for the most part, look at the people that are yelling about equality with blacks and African Americans and blah 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 against the whites and this, that, and the other thing, and the women. We've got the gender wage gap and blah blah blah. Look at the age of all these people. None of them predate
got a hair on their
when
ass.
Civil rights happened. The people that actually are still alive today, that knew when they were alive when those changes occurred, I don't see any of them up on the news media. I don't see any of them at the rallies hooting, hollering, yelling, and screaming, saying, we need our equality. We need our equal rights. We didn't get it. None of them are yelling and screaming. Well, gee, could it be because it already happened? You're not going after equality at this point. You're going after additional legs up. Okay? If you want equality, then you don't get an extra merit point on a civil service exam because you can fulfill a minority box.
Yeah, that's
not equality.
That pisses me off because what they're talking about is not equality. It's a racism against another group about their color of their skin, and that's all they're doing anymore. Because now we're being attacked that we have to pay reparations because the color of our skin. So it must be our relatives. My family's always been poor little dirt farmers, and we always will be. And we never owned a goddamn. We weren't even farmers. We couldn't even afford a farmland. We didn't own goddamn slaves. So don't come to me about that shit.
Now, here's the other thing. Go back in your family history.
Oh, I have.
And I'm willing to bet, because you've got some Irish in you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Unfortunately. You there, Crash? Uh-oh, we lost Crash, I think. Well, he's driving. He might have hit a section that he lost signal in, and I believe we do. Nope, he's not there anymore. If he's able to, he'll call back. He'll finish his statement. But I know where he was going with the Irish part. Because just at the same time of this, that America had blacks as slaves, what most people don't know is there was an equal amount of white slaves, but they called them indentured servants that never had an ending to their indenturedness. There was never end to it. They would be like, okay, well, you'll work here 10 years and you'll be free. And that 10 years came up, they would come up with another reason to keep them there. And where'd they come from? England and Ireland. Both places, young, poor, that were sleeping out on the street were taken and put into slavery. Every culture throughout history, one way or another, has been put into slavery. Whites were put into slavery in Africa for years. Hell, Africa still has slavery to this day, and that's what pissed me off. Africa still has a slave trade. And we're not talking the women's slave trade. That's a whole different discussion right there. But I'm talking a regular slave trade. And what's the most that they're putting into slaves? Blacks over there. But we don't hear that argument. Who is the only country in the history of this fucking world that has gone to war with itself, fought a bloody goddamn war to end slavery? That's the United States is the only country, that stood up to end slavery. That's when it started really falling apart everywhere else. There were some areas that started to ban it, but that pretty much sealed its fate. So when they sit there and they try to tell you that everything wrong with this country, we went to war. White people went to war to free black people. White people went to war to free other whites. Blacks went to war to free blacks. Blacks went to war to free whites. It's a false narrative being pushed on a bunch of people that have no common sense, and most of these idiots are being busted and paid. They are paid agitators working for a group that isn't even in the United States. For those that don't know, Antifa is a organization that was started in Germany back in the, 1930s it was. It is not a peaceful organization either. So many people speak a lot of crap about shit that they don't know about. And all they do is they regurgitate stuff, and then they'll come to me and tell me I don't know shit and I'm just regurgitating. No, I actually look into my facts. I do studying. I didn't do good in high school, but I paid attention in my adult years. Absolute. Oh, pisses me off. Ben Carson's actually speaking right now. Oh, man. We're probably going to break away after the top of the hour. Trump's supposed to be speaking, and we'll probably break away for that. Also, there will be no BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon tonight. It is closed. It seems that some rats were found in the saloon, so they had to shut down for a little bit. They'll be back he'll be back Thursday. Should be back. I'm always picking on him, and I have a lot of respect for BZ. BZ is a great guy, and his show is one of the top ones on the network. So, I don't know. It's just holy shit with what's going on. This country's going totally nuts. Trying to look over. You out of here, Sarge? You got to get going. Thank you for showing up. Always great having you here. And like I said, you got the number. You got to call in one time. Just give a call in. I can work it around, So, or you could set up a schedule with me one time to call into the show. All right, where are we? I'm trying to see where we're at. I'm trying to figure out why I don't have that broadcast when I'm looking at one screen and it has it. Let me see something. I'm going to switch something on my broadcast. It's not looking right. Ooh, that's what I did. All right. While that's doing that, let's go back to that screen. All right, sir. You have a great night, Sarge. I'm laughing because there's the whole issue with illegal immigrants going on with Canada. And if you remember, Mr. Trudeau had said that anybody, the illegals, were welcome in his country. Well, now he's kind of reversing that, and yeah, he's now complaining. Come on. What the hell's going on with this broadcast? It's like I got two different broadcasts from the same channel. It's weird shit. Doesn't make sense. The same channel on my tablet shows one thing, and on my computer that I'm broadcasting the show on says something totally different. That's because that's behind. Ha ha! My tablet was running behind. All right. Let's see what's going on. I think they're getting ready for Trump to show up. So we'll go back to that in a few minutes. We're going to switch over to that screen. But yeah, Trudeau is sounding the alarm on the growing flood of immigrants entering Canada. Canada is an opening and welcoming society. But let me be clear. We are also a country of law, Trudeau said in remarks after a meeting in Montreal with Irish Prime Minister. It's funny, when we talked about that we were a country of laws, we got called a lot of names, and, we got chastised by Canada and a lot of other countries. Now that Canada is getting overrun, now all of a sudden it's an issue. He also further went on to say entering Canada irregularly is not an advantage. There are rigorous immigration and custom rules that will be followed. Make no mistake. Illegal border crossings to Canada spiked in July, reaching more than triple June's 884 crossing. Most immigrants enter through Quebec. President Trump in January put a hold on refugees to the United States and barred travelers from several countries infested with terrorism. In the wake of the president's move, Trudeau offered assistance and asylum to refugees. To those fleeing prosecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you, regardless of your faith. Diversity is our strength. Hashtag welcome to Canada, tweeted the Prime Minister. Now, however, the Prime Minister is concerned about the growing number of mostly Haitian illegal immigrants leaving the U.S. in response to Trump's tough immigration policies. Our rules, our principles, and our laws apply to everyone, Trudeau warned. Earlier this year, Fox News reported from the Canadian border talking to authorities about the influx of illegal crossings by those seeking refugees protection. Again, when it was the other way around, it was perfectly acceptable. Now that it's happening to them, it's a whole new ballgame. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here, and it's expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, a reminder, tonight there will be no BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon. They found a mouse, and they had to shut it down. So, we're waiting for President Trump to come up to speak right now. Vice President Pence is up speaking. We will be going to a live broadcast. If you're watching through YouTube, we'll be transmitting a live from, I think it's Right Side Broadcasting is one of them. We'll be using that feed. Or we might use, I don't know. Let me see something. All right. What the heck is that? Let's see, spawn. C-SPAN gonna cover it? No, I don't think so. Huh. So we're gonna jump off the feed from, I think it's Right Side Broadcasting, and so we can hear President Trump. And if you're watching through Facebook, you'll be able to watch. I mean, through YouTube, you'll be able to watch it live. I still haven't figured out. I think it's the processor that I have. I'm having issues with. I need a better processor. I believe that's the main issue I'm having right now. I need just a little bit better. I got a dual quad or dual core. And from what I've been reading, I might need at least a minimum of quad core. I didn't get a chance. I was going to talk to a friend of mine's son who knows a little bit more, who would probably be able to help me, but unfortunately I did not see any of them outside, and I kind of forgot about it, to tell you the truth. So once I get that straightened out, because it just slows down the broadcast, it gets a little choppy. Right now it's looking good. In fact, let me take a look, see how it's doing. Green Acres is the place to be. Hold on 1 second while I check this out. Come on, damn it. Damn it, Janet. It was looking good for a second, and all of a sudden it just started cycling. Like that little circle. Now it's okay again. Let me see something. Every time I unplug the headset part of it and go to... Oh, hold on. We may be jumping. Give me 1 second. Do. Plenty of sunshine headed my way. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. What the hell's going on here? Okay, Trump's up. We're going to switch over to that real quick. All right, let's see. Bump. As I said, we're waiting for Trump to jump in and start broadcasting. And he's getting a large standing ovation, it looks like. It's weird. Come on.
Wow.
Here we go.
What a crowd. What a crowd. And just so you know, from the Secret Service, there aren't too many people outside protesting, okay? That I can tell you. A lot of people in here, a lot of people pouring in right now. They can get them in. Whatever you can do, Fire Marshal, we'll appreciate it. And I want to thank our great Vice President Mike Pence for the introduction, as well as my friend Dr. Ben Carson. And thank you to a very, very special man, Franklin Graham, Reverend Franklin Graham, for leading us in prayer. And thank you to Alveda King, the niece of the great Dr. Martin Luther King. It really shows you that America is indeed a nation of faith. We know that. Well, I'm thrilled to be back in Phoenix, in the great state of Arizona. With so many thousands of hardworking American patriots. You know, I'd love if the cameras could show this crowd, because it is rather incredible. It is incredible. It is incredible. As everybody here remembers, this was the scene of my first rally speech, right? The crowds were so big, almost as big as tonight, that the people said right at the beginning, you know, there's something special happening here. And we went to center stage almost from day one in the debates. We love those debates. But we went to center stage and we never left, right? It's all of us. We did it together. You were there at the start. You've been there every single day since. And I will never forget. Believe me, Arizona, I will never forget. And I'm here tonight to send a message. We are fully and totally committed to fighting for our agenda, and we will not stop until the job is done. This evening, joined together with friends, we reaffirm our shared customs, traditions, and values. We love our country. We celebrate our troops. We embrace our freedom. We respect our flag. We are proud of our history. We cherish our Constitution, including, by the way, the Second Amendment. We fully protect religious liberty. We believe in law and order, and we support the incredible men and women of law enforcement. And we pledge our allegiance to one nation under God. You always understood what Washington, D.C. did not. Our movement is a movement built on love. It's love for fellow citizens. It's love for struggling Americans who've been left behind, and love for every American child who deserves a chance to have all of their dreams come true. From the inner cities to the
We're going to switch over to a different feed.
From the Sun Belt to the Rust Belt, from east to west and north.
All right, come on. I'm hoping that clears up in a second. I hate with this how it goes. It makes me look like an idiot. Come on, you piece of garbage. Come on. Oh, that's why, because I was clicking on the wrong thing. Duh. All right, here we go.
Victory, the forgotten men and women. Remember, we used to talk about the forgotten men and women before the election. Guess what? They're not forgotten anymore, right? Anymore. No, they're not forgotten anymore, folks. In fact, they're trying to figure you out. They're saying, the obstructionists, how do we get them to vote for us? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. We believe that every American has the right to live with dignity. Respect for America demands respect for all of its people. Loyalty to our nation requires loyalty to each other. We all share the same home, the same dreams, and the same hopes for a better future. A wound inflicted upon one member of our community is a wound inflicted upon us all. You saw last night. You saw last night. Did anybody watch last night? Yeah. When one part of America hurts, we all hurt. And when one American suffers an injustice, all of America suffers together. We're all together. It's time for us to follow the example of our brave American soldiers, and I was with a lot of them last night, Fort Myers. No matter where they come from, no matter what faith they practice, they form a single, unbreakable team. That's what we are. We're a team. As a nation, we're a team. They're all united by their devotion to our country and to their mission. It's time for all of us to remember that we are all in the same team. We are all Americans, and we all believe right now in America first. And it's happening, and it's happening fast. I see all those red hats and white hats. It's all happening very fast. It's called Make America Great Again. You see what's going on. It's coming back very fast. We want every child to succeed, every community to prosper, and every struggling American to have a chance for a better life. What happened in Charlottesville strikes at the core of America. And tonight, this entire arena stands united in forceful condemnation of the thugs who perpetrate hatred and violence. But the very dishonest media, those people right up there with all the cameras. So and I mean truly dishonest people in the media and the fake media, they make up stories. They have no sources in many cases. They say a source says there is no such thing, but they don't report the facts. Just like they don't want to report that I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK. I openly called for unity, healing, and love, and they know it because they were all there. So what I did is I thought I'd take just a second, and I'm really doing this more than anything else, because you know where my heart is, okay? I'm really doing this to show you how damn dishonest these people are. So here is my first statement when I heard about Charlottesville. And I have a home in Charlottesville. A lot of people don't know. Here's the first. Can't believe they haven't figured that one out yet. Now they know. Now they finally know. But I don't want to bore you with this, but it shows you how dishonest they are. And most of you know this anyway. So here's what I said, really fast. Here's what I said on Saturday. We're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is me speaking. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. That's me speaking on Saturday, right after the event. So I'm condemning the strongest possible terms, egregious display, hatred, bigotry, and violence. Okay, I think you can't do much better, right? Okay, but they didn't want to put this on. They had it on initially, but then when they talked, he didn't say it fast enough. He didn't do it on time. Why did it take a day? He must be a racist. It took a day. Dishonest people. So here's me. I hope they're showing
the
how many
media
people
wanted
to
attack on him, and now he's fighting back.
The only time they show the crowds is when there's a disruptor or an anarchist in the room. I call them anarchists. Because believe me, we have plenty of anarchists. They don't want to talk about the anarchists. So this is me. It has no place in America. I'm talking about hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety, security in our society, and no child should ever be afraid to go outside and play or be with their parents and have a good time. This is me speaking. Here's further. This is on Saturday, the first one. I did this 3 times. We have to come together as Americans with love for the nation and true affection. Really, and I say this so strongly, true affection for each other. I didn't say true affection for you and you. I said for each other, all of us, all of us. All of us. But they don't report it. They just let it go. Above all else, we must remember this truth. No matter our color, creed, religion, or political party, we are all Americans first. We love our country. We love our God. We love our flag. Then I went on. This is my first statement. And they said, remember, they said, well, he wasn't specific enough. Why wasn't he more specific? So in my second statement, I got really specific. And they said, why didn't he do it faster? I'm telling you, folks, look, I know these people probably better than anybody. And a lot of people have a problem with it because, look, what happens with them, if they're doing a story about me, I know if it's honest or false. If you're reading a story about somebody, you don't know. You assume it's honest because it's like the failing New York Times, which is like so bad. It's so bad. Or the Washington Post, which I call a lobbying tool for Amazon. Okay, that's a lobbying tool for Amazon. Or CNN, which is so bad and so pathetic, and their ratings are going down. Right?
They should know that the crowd is going to let them have it. They're not going to sit back. Trump supporters are his supporters, and they're going to live and die by him.
But ABC this morning, I don't watch it much, but I'm watching in the morning, and they have little George Stephanopoulos talking to Nikki Haley, right? Little George. And he talks about the speech I made last night, which, believe it or not, got great reviews, right? They had a hard time. They were having a hard time because it was with soldiers.
What's funny is they go at him because he says, like, oh, I had a great speech. But Obama did that all the time. And, it was great. It was great.
So he talked about it for like that much. Then he goes, let's get back to Charlottesville. And Nikki was great. She's doing a great job, by the way. So now I say we have to heal our wounds and the wounds of our country. I love the people of our country, the people, all of the people. It says, I love all of the people of our country. I didn't say I love you because you're black, or I love you because you're white, or I love you because you're from Japan, or you're from China, or you're from Kenya, or you're from Scotland or Sweden. I love all the people of our country.
You didn't hear Obama saying that. You never heard Hillary saying that.
Here's this is, by the way, folks, this is my exact words. I love all the people of our country. We're going to make America great again, but we're going to make it great for all of the people of the United States of America. And then they say, is he a racist? Is he a racist? Then I did a second one. So then I did a second one. Don't bother. It's only a single voice and not a very powerful voice. How did he get in here? He's supposed to be with a few people outside. How about all week they're talking about the massive crowds that are going to be outside? Where are they? Well, it's hot out. It is hot. I think it's too warm. You know, they show up in the helmets and the black masks, and they've got clubs and they've got everything. Antifa! So on August the 14th, so that was it. And I said, all people, I love all people, everything, right? Now I figure I'm going to do it again. I'll be even more specific. So I said, based on the events that took place over the last weekend in Charlottesville, I'd like to provide the nation with an update, because that was right after the event, the first one, right? An update on ongoing federal response to the horrific attack and violence that was witnessed by everybody. To anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence, you will be held fully accountable. Justice will be delivered. That's what I said. Listen to that. I said that, but they don't show that. They don't show it. They'll take one thing like, seriously, he was late was the best thing. He was late. So I said, to anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence. Okay. Then I go, we must love each other, show affection for each other, and unite together in condemnation of hatred, bigotry, and violence. We must rediscover the bonds of love and loyalty that bring us together as Americans, right? Then I said, racism is evil. Did they report that I said that racism is evil? You know why? Because they are very dishonest people. So I said, racism is evil. Now, they only choose, like a half a sentence here or there, and then they just go on this long rampage, or they put on these real lightweights all around a table that nobody ever heard of, and they all say what a bad guy I am. But, I mean, do you ever see anything, and then you wonder why CNN is doing relatively poorly in the ratings? Because they're putting like 7 people, all negative on Trump, and they fired Jeffrey Lord. Poor Jeffrey. Jeffrey Lord. I guess he was getting a little bit fed up, and he was probably fighting back a little too hard. They said, we better get out of here. We get him out. And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold true as Americans. Now, let me ask you, can it be any better than that in all fairness? And, I mentioned that, but to the best of my knowledge, when there was a big problem, Barack Obama never said it took place because of radical Islamic terrorists. He never said that, right? He doesn't have to say it. You know why? Because they have a double standard. Because the media is totally dishonest, and they have a double standard. You've never heard them say that. And in fact, if you use the term, you get criticized. But with me, they wanted me to say it. I said it. And I said it very clearly, but they refused to put it on. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike the very core of America. These are my words. This was on Monday, August the 14th. So you had Saturday, you had Monday. I mean, I was going to do one of these every week, but you would never get it right. In times such as these, America has always shown its true character, responding to hate with love, division with unity, and violence with an unwavering resolve for justice. Then I finished. I said, we will defend and protect the sacred rights of all Americans. All is capitalized ×5. Not just you. And we will work together so that every citizen in this blessed land is free to follow their dreams and their hearts and to express the love and joy in their souls. Okay, now, I mean, so they were having a hard time with that one because I said everything. I hit them with neo-Nazi. I hit them with everything. I got the white supremacists, the neo-Nazi, I got them all in there. Let's see. Yeah, KKK, we have KKK. I got them all. So they're having a hard time. So what did they say, right? It should have been sooner. He's a racist. It should have been sooner. Okay. So it should have been. So then the last one, on Tuesday. Tuesday, I did another one. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. But they also said that he must be a racist because he never mentioned the driver of the car, who is a terrible person, drove the car, and he killed Heather. And it's a terrible thing. But they said I didn't mention. So these are my words. The driver of the car is a murderer. And what he did was a horrible, inexcusable thing. They said I didn't mention. And then they asked me, just to finish it, they asked me, what about race relations in the United States? Now, I have to say they were pretty bad under Barack Obama. That I can tell you. But they asked me the question, and I said, well, I think jobs can have a very big and positive impact. I think if we continue to create jobs like I've done, over 1 million since I've been in office, way over 1 million. I think if we continue to create jobs at levels that I'm creating jobs, I think that's going to have a tremendously positive impact on race relations. I do. I do. And the other thing, very important, I believe wages will start going up because we now have the lowest unemployment rate we've had in 17 years. So you're going to see wages go up, right? They haven't gone up for a long time. I believe wages now, because the economy is doing so well with respect to employment and unemployment, I believe wages will start to go up, and I think that will have a tremendously positive impact on race relations. Go on it? Yeah. Give that. So that was my words. Now, you know, I was a good student. I always hear about the elite. You know, the elite, they're elite. I went to better schools than they did. I was a better student than they were. I live in a bigger, more beautiful apartment, and I live in the White House, too, which is really great. I think, you know what? I think we're the elites. They're not the elites. So the point is, and I didn't want to bore you because you understand where I'm coming from. You people understand. But the point is that those were three different. There were two statements and one news conference. The words were perfect. They only take out anything they can think of. And for the most part, all they do is complain. But they don't put on those words. And they don't put on me saying those words. The media can attack me. But where I draw the line is when they attack you, which is what they do. When they attack the decency of our supporters. You are honest, hardworking, tax-paying.
That's the one I don't understand. You want to get people to turn against them, but they then attack those people. That's not going to get you to support anybody. That's just idiocy.
You're tax-paying Americans who love our nation, obey our laws, and care for our people. It's time to expose the crooked media deceptions and to challenge the media for their role in fomenting divisions. And yes, by the way, they are trying to take away our history and our heritage. You see that.
And that's what they're doing. Me and Crash talked about it earlier.
And, you know, we're all pros. We're all, like, we have a certain sense. We're smart people. These are truly dishonest people. And not all of them. Not all of them. You have some very good reporters. You have some very fair journalists. But for the most part, honestly, these are really, really dishonest people.
They're not even reporters, some of them.
And I really think
they're just
they don't
attack
like
machines.
Our country. I really believe that. And I don't believe they're going to change, and that's why I do this. If they would change, I would never say it. The only people giving a
We're going to break off of this. We're
to
going to hit
these
one
hate
last
groups
commercial,
is the
and then
media
we'll wrap it up
itself
for
and
the
fake
show.
news.
Been listening to Trump speaking at a rally in Arizona. I think this is something he needed. Get his side out there. I think this is going to help him. I don't follow the polls when it comes to approval ratings. This right here shows his popularity is still there. So with that, we're going to head to break. And you've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. And we will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe. I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. I've seen a couple of clips floating around Facebook that are just great, and I want to play a couple of them. Well, we'll see how many we can get through. This one is Larry Elder crushing a liberal on racism. This is just it. I love how never gets upset and just tries to get him to give him facts. So let's listen in on this one. This is Larry Elder debating liberal lunacy.
Knowledge that there are some systemic issues.
Give me an example. Tell me what you think the most systemic racist issue is. What is it?
Well, I would say that because black people in most cases, in many cases, were descendants of slaves, that racism as an institution, that it just, a certain amount of it just exists.
2015? Give me the most blatant racist example you can come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence.
Notice the guy I can't give you.
In general,
well,
cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black.
What's your data? What's your basis for saying that? Last year...
Well, look, I know a lot of people would say, look what's going on in Chicago.
I know what they would say. Yeah. I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting...
Now, remember this. Larry Elder speaking
Chicago
is
in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago...
Okay, what the hell just happened? Many crickets. Facebook is acting like a goddamn idiot lately.
So, but you wouldn't not acknowledge that there are some systemic issues.
Give me an example. Tell me what you think the most systemic racist issue is. What is it?
Well, I would say that because black people in most cases, in many cases, were descendants of slaves, that racism as an institution, that it just, a certain amount of it just exists.
2015? Give me the most blatant racist example you can come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence that, in general, cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black.
What's your data?
Than white.
What's your basis for saying that? Last year...
Well, look, I know a lot of people would say, look what's going on in Chicago.
I know what they would say.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black. About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where is the Black Lives Matter on that? The idea that a racist white cop shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS. It's complete and total BS. And the reason for these so-called activists saying this is the assumption that racism remains a major problem in America. The media, CNN, especially MSNBC, runs down whenever a black cop shoots somebody, and it's some march on Washington. It's ridiculous. Black people, half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year there were 14,000 homicides. I'm not talking about suicides. I'm talking about homicides. Mm-hmm. Half of them were black. 96% of them black on black of that 7,000. Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that?
So there's where you would say that this is purely because of social justice. This is purely because they want ultimately for people to be angry enough to just keep voting Democrats.
That's right. And where's the evidence of the lack of social justice? When a black suspect is killed by a cop, believe me, the media's on it. People are watching it, and justice will, for the most part, occur. In Baltimore, where Freddie Gray was killed. Freddie Gray died in a van. I shouldn't say was killed. Died in a van. Yeah. You have a city that's 45%
I love
black.
This one.
City council is 100% Democrat. The majority of city council is black. The top cop at the time was black. The number 2 cop was black. The majority of the command staff is black. The mayor is black. The AG is black. And yet here we are talking about racism. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah,
it was an excuse to push blame off of them.
I find myself caught in between this a little bit as a liberal, where I want to always try to defend the other. So in this case, the other being black people, I'm always sympathetic to that. And that, at the same time, I hear you laying out a pretty solid case.
These are just the facts. I'll tell you something else, too. There was just a study, University of Washington, and it turns out cops were more reluctant, more hesitant to pull the trigger against a black suspect than a white suspect. Probably because of the fear of being accused of racially profiling and the fear that the civil rights establishment was going to come down on him. So if anything, whites are more likely to be shot by a cop under certain circumstances than a black person. And in the last 30 or 40 years, the percentage of suspects killed by cops who are black has declined 75%. However, the percentage of whites killed by cops has flatlined.
Yeah.
And so, if anything, people are more concerned about shooting black people for fear that they're going to be called racist. And almost every one of these incidents, whether it's Eric Gardner in New York, who died because he was selling Lucy's and resisted arrest, whether it's Tamir Rice in Cleveland, who was twirling around the gun, whether it's Michael Brown in Ferguson, who had just committed an strong-arm robbery, almost every one of these incidents involved somebody resisting arrest. Why don't you just do what the police tell you? My dad said when I get pulled over, have my hand at 10 o'clock, have my hand at 2 o'clock, say yes, sir, say no, sir, make sure my paperwork is in order, and if I feel the cop is mistreating me, get a badge number and deal with it later on. If Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Obama and the whole group of them told black people to do that, we'd have a lot fewer of these things to deal with in the first place.
Yeah. All right,
Bingo.
so I'm with you. I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying here. So as a black conservative,
and he doesn't know what the hell to say.
Now you've laid out your case there,
but you haven't laid out yours. I asked you to name the most important example of racism, and you gave white cops going after black people, and I told you, gave you the facts for that. So that's nonsense. So you must have something else. What else is it? If you think racism remains a problem in America, give it to me.
Well, I think it remains a problem.
Give it to me.
It may not be systemic in that it's not like you're not being hired.
In other words, he doesn't have a reason. He just thinks it, so therefore it has to exist. He cannot give an example.
As a general
I need some
theory.
I need some specifics. You gave me the white cop thing. What else? Give me another example where you think is a problem.
Well, as a black conservative, tell me how do you get people to come around?
You're the one who made the assertion that you think racism remains a major problem in America.
Change the subject.
I asked you to give me an example. You gave me white cops going after blacks. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't hold it up very well. What's the other argument you have? What's the other thing?
Well, I don't know that it's systemic in the sort of macro sense.
I'm not mad. I just want to know what it is you're talking about.
That's exactly what that's. Believe me, that's 100% why I wanted to have you.
Blacks are not getting into school. BS. We have affirmative action. So a black person with an SAT and a GPA of X will get into a school faster and easier than a white person with an SAT or a GPA of X. And if going to school is a route to the middle class, you can make an argument that blacks have an easier route to the middle class. If you're talking about about poverty, the poorer you are, the more accessible loans and grants are for you. The problem, the biggest burden that black people have, in my opinion, again, is the percentage of blacks, 75% of them, that are raised without fathers. And that has every other social negative consequence connected to it. Crime, not being able to compete economically in the country, being more likely to be arrested, that's the number one problem facing the black community. And when I hear people tell me about systemic racism or unconscious racism, I always say, give me an example, and almost nobody can do it.
So the family stuff. So I'll follow your logic there on the family stuff. What can actually be done about that then? I mean, because that's a big
reverse the welfare state. In 1890, 1900, you look at census reports. A black kid, believe it or not, was slightly more likely to be born to a nuclear intact family than a white kid. Even during slavery, a black kid was more likely to be born under a roof with his biological mother and biological father than today. What's happened is we launched this so-called war on poverty in the 60s, where literally Lyndon Johnson sent people knocking on doors. And I lived in the 60s, and people knocked on doors apprising women of their availability to welfare, provided there was no man in the house. And we went from 25% of blacks being born outside of wedlock in 65 to 75% right now. And you look at how much money that we spent on welfare, and the lines are parallel. It was a neutron bomb dropped on this country, not just in the black community, but on people in general. At one time, only about 5% of whites were born outside of wedlock. Now 25% of whites are born outside of wedlock. I was in college in 1970. And there was a report called the Moynihan Report, The Negro Family, A Case for National Action. It's written by a liberal, by a man who became a Democratic senator from New York. And at the time, 25% of black kids were born outside of wedlock. He said, my God, this number is horrific. If we don't do something about it, it could get even higher. Well, fast forward, 25% of white kids are now born outside of wedlock. It is the #1 problem in this country, and what we've done, in my opinion, is we've economically incentivized women to marry the government, and we've allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. And now we have this.
Never lost his cool, but the liberal could not argue any of the points. He could not even come up with any facts on his own. He could just give basic summations and, well, you know, there's possibly this and possibly that. And no, there wasn't no exactness. It just was a roundabout, never with any specifics. I want this other one. Now I'm not going to be able to find it. It's going to piss me right off. It is the discussion about the party switch, the myth of the party switching. It's an absolute joke. Is it here? Here it is. I think we have time for it. Let's see how long it is. 5 minutes. Yeah. If we go over a little bit today, it's not a big issue. BZ, Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon won't be on. So we're going to go to this. It's from ProgU. And if you don't know ProgU, look them up, especially on Facebook. Check them out. They got some really great educational videos that come out.
Once upon a time, every student of history, and that meant pretty much everyone with a high school education, knew this. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery and Jim Crow, and the Republican Party was the party of emancipation and racial integration. Democrats were the Confederacy, and Republicans were the Union. Jim Crow Democrats were dominant in the South, and socially tolerant Republicans were dominant in the North. But then, in the 1960s and 70s, everything supposedly flipped. Suddenly, the Republicans became the racists, and the Democrats became the champions of civil rights. Fabricated by left-leaning academic elites and journalists, the story went like this. Republicans couldn't win a national election by appealing to the better nature of the country. They could only win by appealing to the worst. Attributed to Richard Nixon, the media's all-purpose bad guy, this came to be known as the Southern Strategy. It was very simple. Win elections by winning the South. And to win the South, appeal to racists. So the Republicans, the party of Lincoln, were to now be labeled the party of rednecks. But this story of the two parties switching identities is a myth. In fact, it's 3 myths wrapped into one false narrative. Let's take a brief look at each myth in turn. Myth number 1. In order to be competitive in the South, Republicans started to pander to white racists in the 1960s. Fact, Republicans actually became competitive in the South as early as 1928 when Republican Herbert Hoover won over 47% of the South's popular vote against Democrat Al Smith. In 1952, Republican President Dwight Eisenhower won the southern states of Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. And in 1956, he picked up Louisiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia, too. And that was after he supported the Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education that desegregated public schools, and after he sent the 101st Airborne to Little Rock Central High School to enforce integration. Myth number 2, Southern Democrats, angry with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, switched parties. Fact, of the 21 Democratic senators who opposed the Civil Rights Act, just 1 became a Republican. The other 20 continued to be elected as Democrats or were replaced by other Democrats. On average, those 20 seats didn't go Republican for another 2.5 decades. Myth number 3. Since the implementation of the Southern Strategy, the Republicans have dominated the South. Fact, Richard Nixon, the man who is often credited with creating the Southern Strategy, lost the Deep South in 1968. In contrast, Democrat Jimmy Carter nearly swept the region in 1976, 12 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And in 1992, over 28 years later, Democrat Bill Clinton won Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. The truth is, Republicans didn't hold a majority of Southern congressional seats until 1994, 30 years after the Civil Rights Act. As Kevin Williamson of National Review writes, if Southern rednecks ditched the Democrats because of a civil rights law passed in 1964, it is strange that they waited until the late 1980s and early 1990s to do so. They say things move slower in the South, but not that slow. So what really happened? Why does the South now vote overwhelmingly Republican? Because the South itself has changed. Its values have changed. The racism that once defined it doesn't anymore. Its values today are conservative ones, pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-small government. And here's the proof. Southern whites are far more likely to vote for a black conservative like Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina than a white liberal. In short, history has moved on. Like other regions of the country, the South votes values, not skin color. The myth of the Southern strategy is just the Democrats' excuse for losing the South, and yet another way to smear Republicans with the label racist. Don't buy it. I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
And that's going to wrap it up for the Reaver of Common Sense. Again, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon will not be airing tonight. They found a rat testicle in the pickled eggs, so they had to desanitize the whole building. So with that, I'm going to say have a great night to everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR at 9 o'clock till 11 p.m. Everybody have a great night. And again, there will be no BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Have a good night. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.